Welcome back to the channel, guys. This is VIN 10161016. This is a 2016 8X1, which is ultrasonic blue mica with LA20 black interior. And before I proceed, it is a rebuilt title car, but you'll want to stay tuned for this one. It's on for sale on Facebook Marketplace in Ohio with 124,000 miles for $26,500. Yes, you heard that right, $26,500. That's below where I would price a rebuilt title car. There's other ones that have sold even in the last couple of years that have sold for more than this. And so let's dive into it and see why it's $26,000. Production statistics. 269 out of the 2,348 cars for the US 49 were ultrasonic blue mica, and of those 122 had black interior, LA20, which is 5.20%, or like a 5 or 6 out of 10. So you're gonna see a few of these pop up. Generally, when it's an ultrasonic blue mica car, it's probably gonna have black interior. Very few of them had red interior, and even fewer had the Stratus gray interior. With I think there's a total of 14 that have the black and white interior, which that's only on 2020. So this is the most common color combo that you would see for an ultrasonic blue mica. For 2016, 177 out of the 1,418 cars were ultrasonic blue, 74 had LA20 black interior. So as I said, most had black interior. So this car was built on January 21st, 2016. Its in-service date was August 19th of 2016, so it almost has a 10-year birthday coming up. Engine 206-4684, and it has only 3 options: Mark Levinson, orange calipers, and PC, which is premium paint, which all of the ultrasonic blue mica cars had a $900 option or $900 premium for the paint color. So it was flare yellow and ultrasonic blue mica. Those were the only cars that carried a premium for the color, not even molten pearl. Carfax, Epic VIN, and auto check. Carfax, my 2024 Carfax shows this as a 5-owner, 1 accident total loss with a further damage event in April of 2023. It shows minor, but the total loss event was due to damage to the undercarriage. And so that could be a wide variety of things, but generally, oil pan, front suspension, maybe exhaust, wiring. There's a bunch of stuff that it could be. And unfortunately, I have photos from the auction, but I don't have photos of the damage. 2024 and 2026 Carfax, they both say the same thing. So Epic VIN, I have my 2024 and 2026 also. The 2024 showed it as a 4-owner, 1 accident car. 2026 shows it as a 2-owner, 1 accident car, which again, I don't understand that, but it's definitely neither. It is a 5-owner, 1 accident, 1 damage event. Auto check got it right mostly. 5-owner, 1 accident, but it shows it as June of 2022, not March of 2021. So I'm not sure what's going on there. It's a different date. I don't think it's a separate accident, but it looks like it's a 5-owner, 1 accident, 1 damage event after that rebuilt title car. Previous sales, not really important until we got to the damage event. So let's start there. March of 2021 at Copart, 32,000 miles, and the owner was paid $48,345 at the time in 2021. Sounds pretty low, but again, these cars were still depreciating until about 2024. And so I can't find the actual sales price that it sold for there. Generally it is, you can Google the full VIN and you can typically find it at these salvage sites, and I can't find it on this car. But it was always disclosed as undercarriage damage. And it looks like it's been owned by the same person once they purchased it from Copart ever since, unless this current seller is a dealer. I'm not 100% sure on that, but it looks like it's been a lifelong Florida car until very recently, where it's now in Dayton, Ohio, but it's still currently registered in Florida. So here it is, August of 2026, 124,000 miles. So that accident happened 5 years ago, and almost 100,000 miles ago, $26,500. And so it sounds like a pretty good price. So now to the photos. There's a lot to unpack here. So first and foremost, the auction photos. When I was looking through these, it was a while ago, so they're pretty low resolution, but it looks to me like there's some damage on the driver's front bumper and possibly the suspension. Like the suspension looks like it's pushed back a little. And so that could entail possibly some bent frame or bent subframe, things along those lines, like the rack and pinion, any other suspension parts, brake lines, wiring, exhaust. So this car was about 5 years old when it was totaled, and they paid out $50,000. So it probably had in excess of 20 plus or more $1,000 worth of damage. That's a lot. Did that mean a new engine? Well, ask for a photo of the upper intake manifold and see if the engine number is 2064684. If it's not, then this car's had its engine replaced, either with an RCF engine or another GSF engine, something like that. As far as the current photos show, on the exterior, there's moisture in at least one of the headlights, possibly both, and that's typically caused by the front bumper rubbing into like a parking stone or something, and you back out and it cracks the headlight housing and moisture gets in the headlights. How it'll start is the daytime running light will stop working, and then the LED on the headlight will stop working. You may get a headlight malfunction from the motor that levels the height of the headlight. There is a lot there, and so as you know, these headlights are like between $3,000 and $4,000 a piece. So if you have to replace both of those, that is an expensive gotcha. So something to keep in mind there. When you start seeing moisture in headlights on these cars, it's going to be expensive. Another thing I noticed, if the hood is not popped, and it's hard to tell in the photos, but if the hood's not popped, then the gaps between the fender and the hood, those aren't lining up correctly. And I'm not sure if it's the angle of which the photos, but that would be something I'd look at a little bit closer. The panel gaps, that would be something that I would be concerned with. I can't tell if the taillights are tinted or if they're damaged, if they're yellowed or something like that, but maybe there's moisture in them too. But look at the taillights closely, and if it's the spray-on tint or something like that, otherwise it looks good. The rest of the exterior, don't see any other issues. Looks pretty clean overall. The interior, there is a lot to unpack here. So all of the carbon fiber trim is delaminating, not surprised there. And again, it's all cosmetic. You can pull it all and send it to SMA Fabrication. He's not a sponsor of this channel, but I do have a discount code, AllThingsF, for 10% off of your order, and he can refinish all of them for a few $100s, and it will never delaminate again. So the steering wheel leather, that is coming apart, and so easily resolved. Get you a carbon fiber steering wheel or an aftermarket steering wheel, which a lot of people do on these cars anyway. And otherwise a new steering wheel is like $1,100 or $1,200, very expensive, or you can take it to a leather repair place and get it recovered. So that would be another option. The driver's seat is also very worn. The leather's coming off of it on the bottom bolster. Looks like the rear bolster, the back bolster has a little bit of wear, and then the passenger front seat has some chemical damage to the leather, so it's needs some work. The dash is pretty scratched up. Looks like people threw stuff up on the center dash in front of the center screen. Pretty commonplace that people would throw stuff and things get scratched, damaged, etc. So the screen cover may be damaged as well. Just something to look at. But at the end of the day, most of this is cosmetic, and it's expensive cosmetic stuff, but at the end of the day, we're looking at the bones of it. How good does this car, how good is it going to be for a daily driver, something like that, for a low cost of entry into GSF ownership? And so it's been basically someone's daily for the last 5 or 6 years. As you can see, they put almost 100,000 miles on it in the last 5 or 6 years. The owner states that it has 2025 date code Continental tires, 6 to 8 millimeters left on the brakes, on the brake pads, and the oil was just changed along with the low pressure fuel pump recall. So it sounds like it's pretty well ready to go. So as far as the price goes, does it need a lot? Yes. Is it cheap? Also yes. And I'm pretty sure that the owner has factored that into his asking price. He knows that it's going to need some stuff. So like I would probably put this closer to around $30,000 in this market, maybe even $32,000, but like 28 to 32 is kind of like the accepted rate of where rebuilt title GSFs are, within like 80 to 150,000 miles. That's kind of where they're expected or accepted in this market. And so this car being priced at $26,500, maybe hit them with $25,000 and see if we'll take it. And so then you can do the valley plate, you can do all of the cosmetic stuff, and you still have yourself a nice car for under 30 grand. But I would say, if you get this around 25, that would be a perfect price for this car. And then you can go drive it right away. It's just you could work on the cosmetic stuff over time, which would be great for somebody that doesn't want to spend $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 on one of these cars. You can get into one for 25 and just work on it over time, and you still have, at the end of the day, a very nice car. So now into the service history. It looks like it's very well dealer serviced, but it's also well serviced outside, like in an independent shop and at a Toyota dealer. So the point is, it's been well serviced. So the first entry of note is in 2018, certified pre-owned prep. March of 2018, looks like it had about a $12,000 warranty replacement. It had the head unit replaced because it was acting up. Internal failure is what they called it, and the JLB recall was done. The high pressure fuel pumps were done then. February of 2019, 20,000 miles, front brakes were done. March of 2021, 32,000 miles, it was towed in. It says they ran over something. No further details, and that's when it was totaled. So they brought it to the dealer, probably said, you know, it's going to cost $40,000 to fix or $30,000 to fix whatever was damaged. So they turned it in under insurance, said I hit something, and they totaled it. That's most likely what happened here. I do see tire replacements in 2022 at 52,000 miles by an independent shop. That same shop again at 2023 at 72,000. So it sounds to me like they're putting 25,000 miles a year on this car, which that kind of jives. March of 2023, 72,000 miles. It says that they replaced the left rear hub and lights were on the dash. Probably did it themselves or at a shop. And the dealer found that the speed sensor was mangled and they declined the repair, probably fixed outside of the dealer. Tires again in July of 2024, 92,000 miles. Again, you know, it's about every 20,000 miles it's getting new tires. Now the owner says it has tire date codes 2025, so it's had new tires since then again. July 30th of 2026, so just a couple days ago, the low pressure fuel pump recall was done. So that's already done and out of the way, and an oil change. And they wanted a noise that was in the front end diagnosed. They said it was a popping, and they found it was from the lower cross brace and subframe hitting one another. And they found a missing bolt, I'm assuming from the subframe, and a stripped out thread in the body where that bolt goes. So that's not good, and it doesn't sound like it was fixed here. It ran out of space where it was describing it. So that would definitely be something that the owner could answer for you, but say, ask me or tell me about this popping noise from the front end, what was done, and did you fix it? That would be something that would be important for me. So what's not done? Obviously inspect the underside of this car. That's going to be the most important part of doing a pre-purchase inspection on this car is the damage from 5 years ago. Obviously, whatever problem it had probably isn't that significant anymore because any of the kinks definitely would have been worked out over 100,000 miles. However, they have been replacing tires every 20,000 miles. 20 to 30,000 is pretty typical. You know, this car, if it had a lot of short drive, stop and go, or something like that, wouldn't be surprised, but I don't see any real cause for concerns seeing tires every 20,000 miles, but it would be something to look at. Valley plate, don't see any history on the valley plate replacement or resealing, so ask about that. If it hasn't been done, put some money aside for that. Low pressure fuel pump has not been reprogrammed, so that is the humming or buzzing you hear in the back seat. It's no longer free, but there is a fix at the dealer for it if you do get that noise. The KLG has not been done on this car, so that is the GPS location. The ZLZ, it may not be covered on this car. That's a sticky dash, but because it has a rebuilt title, Lexus has some weird rules regarding that, so it may not be covered. But if it is covered, you have like 2 weeks of coverage left, so like the end of August, and then you're out of coverage for the dash. But transmission service, TVD service, coolant's due at 100,000 miles, the 60,000 mile service, the 120,000 mile service. So that's spark plugs twice. So if it hasn't been done. Drive belt, if it hasn't been replaced, I would probably do that. And then all of the cosmetic stuff. So there's quite a list of things that probably still need to be done on this car, but I don't think they're like dire, except for probably some of the fluids and maybe the spark plugs if they've never been done. So that brings me to, would I buy this car? I think around 25,000, I would consider it, subject to a very in-depth pre-purchase inspection. That damage that was described in the visit about a week ago with the bolt missing and the stripped bolt into the body where the subframe goes, that would concern me. So definitely look into that and inspect the valley plate. But other than that, like, it's definitely a good driver quality car, which you don't really have to worry about the value on this one. I said you can drive it, you can go put 50,000 miles on it and you can sell it for what you paid for it. And so I think that's a solid buy in my opinion. And with the rebuilt title, you know, it's just the difficulty you'll have there is if you try to finance or if you're trying to full coverage insure this car, you may get some pushback from certain insurers. So there are insurers that will cover it, but it may run a little bit higher to insure this car. So that's something to factor in as well. But probably the lowest priced GSF we will see this year, and 26,500. If you can pick it up for 25, I think you would be money ahead. Fix things as you go and you won't feel it as bad long term. And at the end of the day, you've got a GSF. So I think it's a solid one. Needs a little bit more inspection and get some fluids and some maintenance done, but looks pretty good on my end. So VIN 1016, go check this one out. Facebook Marketplace. If it's not showing up on your Facebook Marketplace, set your location to Ohio and it should show up if it is still available. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you soon.